Okay, I'm Major General Paul Lefebvre, United States Marine Corps, retired as a Major General, still working for DOD. And what else? What else?
That's good. That's
okay,
good.
That's good. Yeah.
So, have you known General Gray for a while? Have you?
I've known him for a long time. So, very unique way I learned that I met him. I'm a West Coast guy. General Gray's an East Coast guy. So as a lieutenant, I'd been in California and Hawaii, not really part of his team, but I was stationed in New Jersey. I was a guard company commander of 350 Marines in New Jersey. One day, there was a figure in my doorway as a company commander wearing gardening clothes. And I didn't know exactly who it was, but after about 30 seconds, I figured out it was General Gray. His mother actually lived in New Jersey, and he had taken her to the PX and stopped in to see me. So that was my first, if you will, time that I met him, actually talked to him. Really clear, like within a few seconds. 1, he's a Marine. 2, he's a General. 3, this has got to be Al Gray.
That's nice. Do you have any personal memories, like a story that you could share with us?
Sure. So I was... in 1987, when he became commandant, I was the fortunate, I guess, first recipient of the Lefebvre Trophy under General Gray's commandancy. He came out to 29 palms and gave it to me. It weighs about 100 pounds. I don't think General Gray knew that. And so when he picked it up, it's a Marine with a rifle with a bayonet. He hit the bayonet and bent it. So I have it at home. And I gave it to my parents. And my mother would be vacuuming, and that bent bayonet would be poking her in the head. So for many years, there was a styrofoam ball on the end of, and I attribute that to General Gray. Because of that, because of the Lefebvre Trophy, I was selected by General Gray to come to Washington to be on his Force Structure Study Group in 1987 and 1988. About 40 officers. Among those 40 officers, there were 4 captains, young guys, myself, Butch Foley, Tommy Greenwood, and John Allen. And so we arrived on the Sunday knowing this was going to be probably a 60, 90-day effort. There were 4 captains there, very unusual. What would they have to do with reorganizing the Marine Corps? General Gray appropriately had picked 4 of us to be there so we could listen to what was said, so that years later we could help if changes were required in the Marine Corps. So for 90 days, I had the ability to sit there as General Gray came from all over the world, wherever he was. He'd fly into Quantico, sometimes in really bad weather. He'd spend hours, sometimes 6, 7 hours at a time, talking about our Marine Corps, talking about what he thought by each element of the Marine Corps, how it should be organized, the history of the studies that had been done before. So what an education from him. And at the end, he asked us if there were any of us that wanted to speak to their monitor. And I said, I did. I wanted to go to teach at Amphibious Warfare School. And as a captain, a little unusual. And he got me orders there. So that was when he started the work on MCDP-1, warfighting. So being a member of the faculty at that time in Quantico, in his approach to training and education, not only had been in the force structure study with him, now I was in a position to understand where he wanted to go from a warfighting standpoint. There have been a lot of general officers that have changed things in the Marine Corps. General officers, you know, have contributed, and I could tell you by function and by domain what those contributions might look like. General Gray's advocacy and his effort to put MCDP-1 warfighting in place was above, transcended all those types of changes. So the training and education piece that he impacted with warfighting, where he told us the environment that he wanted, what he wanted teaching to be, which was much different than the didactic yellows that people would hand out. This was about students participating with instructors. So each one of us at the schools, the 4 schools in Quantico, had to develop maneuver warfare doctrine based on what he said. A few people to help us with that, some written material that he had written. I was fortunate enough to be the one to develop the maneuver warfare doctrine for Amphibious Warfare School for 200 students a year. which included the sand tables. So the whole notion of commander's intent and mission orders and decentralized operations were the baseline and the essence of what we were teaching in the school. It was General Gray that did that. He pitted the schools against one another to ensure that we were doing the best. We had the best instruction. We had the best examples, and then we furthered his ideas. So I got 3 years of being an instructor during his time from 87 to 90 under his tutelage, which I would say was the greatest impact to Desert Shield, to Desert Storm, and 20 years of core operations. Significant impact to the coach, teacher, leader, mentor philosophy that many of us have employed in empowering our subordinates on the battlefield to make decisions that come directly from General Gray.
So you just kind of touched on what I was going to ask you next. When it comes to General Gray's leadership, what words come to your mind to describe that?
So I am a senior mentor to, I don't know how many, but probably 25 or 34 stars around the world for the last 12 years. Have a chance to see them in a number of venues, make comparison about leadership styles, and I work for so many great officers. Hands down, without a doubt. General Gray's personal involvement with the people around him, the personal example on a day-to-day basis, the teaching, coaching, mentoring of us as youngsters, the commitment level always there for us no matter what happened. And that's just not when he was on active duty as a commandant. That exists all the way to today. I was the commanding general of MARSOC. General Gray's leadership on his thoughts on small independent action forces are the baseline today for how MARSOC is designed. So leadership, read MCDP1, look at the kind of leader, that's him right there. Hard to come by, hard to measure up to that for a lot of people. And been the goal for me, been the example for me, and everything I've done. That's why I'm still working, this far along, is because his commitment to the Marine Corps and the ability to give back is the same commitment I've tried to follow.
So turning towards you, when it comes to the Marine Corps, what is the core value that means the most to you?
I think it's commitment. When you listen to him sit there for several hours without rest, day after day, the ability to sit and explain in exquisite detail what we need to do, the ability to take small, important aspects of the Marine Corps and study them for long, long periods of time, and then advocate for those changes that are required, and then to put those all together. I mean, relentless in his pursuit of that in terms of making us better. And so since I've retired, with things I've written and things I've done, the ability to come to him, regardless of how busy he is, with the commitment to look at it, to provide feedback on what it means, put it in perspective. So always learning. So it's commitment, absolutely, for sure. That's the visual one. The other ones are there too, but it's the one that stands out to me.